This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Wednesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this April 8th. Indiana now has more than 5,000 cases of COVID-19. What the governor is doing to help EMS workers stretched thin by this pandemic. As more small businesses struggle to stay afloat during the coronavirus pandemic, some are using government programs to help. How one Indianapolis shop is using that funding to adapt and keep business going. And a family is using their skills to help healthcare workers. We'll show you how they're creating dozens of face masks a day with lots of support from the community. But before we get to those top stories, we got to get a check of our forecast with Storm Team 6 meteorologist Todd Clausen. Todd, what do we need to know? We're halfway through the work week.
You know, it's going to be a terrific day once again until this evening. This evening is when we really have to be weather aware as some storms move in, but probably not until 7, 8 o'clock. Until then, it is an absolutely great day. What do you need to have as you get out and about today? Maybe for that walk around the neighborhood, some yard work, sunglasses, and sunscreen. We're getting to the point of the year. If you're out long enough, you certainly can get a bit of a sunburn, so certainly remember that. You don't need the jacket this morning. And I didn't check the umbrella because that's more of a later event for you tonight than it is this morning. We did have a couple thunderstorm warnings early this morning in northern locations. You can see Storm Team 6 radar now is all quiet, though. The storms are all off to the east in Ohio. You don't have to worry about those this morning. And you look back off to the west, and here's all the clear skies that we'll be enjoying through a good chunk of the day today. And how about these temperatures? Everybody this morning right now is sitting in the 60s. Some locations to the south, Bloomington, Bedford, you're close to 70 degrees at this hour. So beautiful picture there of some lilacs. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s later on this afternoon. Some high thin clouds this morning, mostly sunny. I mentioned the storm chances. Could be some pretty good ones here across the area this evening. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Let's take you all the way up on I-69 near State Road 38. You can see traffic there is traveling up to speed this morning. We'll continue to keep our eyes out for any crashes or delays. Right now, everything is traveling smoothly around central Indiana. At 5:02, we are continuing to follow the very latest on the COVID-19 outbreak. The Indiana State Department of Health reports 34 more Hoosiers have died as a result of the virus. A total of 173 deaths have been recorded in the state. Marion County now has more than 2,000 positive cases. Indiana has reported more than 5,000 cases total. So far, 28,000 Hoosiers have been tested. Well, many small businesses are struggling during the coronavirus pandemic. Some owners are adjusting their game plan or shutting down altogether. Our Alyssa Donovan explains how an initiative from the city is aiming to keep these small businesses alive. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. We did speak to one local business owner who says the loan that she received from the city of Indianapolis has been extremely helpful to her. This loan is an effort by the mayor as well as the Chamber of Commerce to help keep businesses afloat during this difficult time. We spoke with Angel Hicks, who owns 28 Boutique. She began transitioning to online only in January. Right now, she's grateful she started the change when she did. However, with people losing their jobs, she still has to adjust to fewer shoppers. Hicks is confident she'll make it through the business slowdown because of the business loan she was able to get through the city of Indianapolis. Small businesses can receive a loan between $1,000 and $25,000 to help bridge their finances. Hicks says the loan helped give her the bump that she needed to stay afloat, and she believes the loan and creativity can help other businesses survive too.
I think small businesses will thrive because they've had time to sit back, relax, and rest and think of new ways to grow their businesses and do things to be considered essential businesses.
And the loans are for food, entertainment, and other businesses. The loans can be used to pay costs like insurance premiums or to pay employees. And there are no fees for business owners to apply for these loans. The city of Indianapolis, the mayor, and the Chamber of Commerce just want this to be accessible to as many small business owners as possible. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. It is 5:04. Governor Holcomb has signed a new executive order to help EMS professionals who are were stretched thin by the coronavirus crisis. The order allows retired and inactive emergency medical professionals to return to work without reinstatement or approval by the state EMS commission. Those that return to work must be supervised by a licensed EMS or healthcare professional. They will also be able to provide primary care to patients if they get a temporary certification from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. Working together in Alexandria, a woman and her family are doing their part to help stop the spread of COVID-19. On average, they're making 60 to 70 protective face masks a day. Our Kelsey Anderson gives us an inside look at their operation.
It seems everyone is looking for one. Face masks are a hot item right now as everyone is working to stop the spread of the coronavirus. After her salon closed, Stephanie Ellis couldn't sit around and wait for the crisis to be over. So she got to work with her mom in their she shed, and they got sewing, making protective face masks to donate to healthcare facilities. They decided to start selling them to the public to help pay for the ones they plan to donate. Ellis says after 2 Facebook postings, the demand for her face masks was more than she expected.
They're buying at such a fast rate that we actually have to set some time out of the production to keep up to just do the ones that are being donated.
Ellis says the support they have received from the community is overwhelming, whether it be folks donating supplies, money, or helping with deliveries. If you're interested in buying a face mask or know of a place that could use some, you can reach Ellis's shop at thesleepcap.com. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. The Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra is laying off musicians and staff because of their concert cancellations. The COVID-19 outbreak has caused the orchestra to cancel all performances through May 27th, and they don't know when they'll be able to start again. Orchestra leaders say this decision was difficult and unprecedented step for their long-term viability. But the community is rallying together to help those musicians in need. The Indianapolis Jazz Foundation has set up a relief fund to raise $50,000 for local singers and instrumentalists dealing with a loss of income. Through a GoFundMe, they have already reached more than $40,000 within just 3 days. Musicians can then apply for grants through the foundation.
On the other side of this, I know they're going to be ready to entertain people. So, and I know people will be ready to go out and check them out.
Indianapolis Jazz Foundation thinks they're going to surpass their $50,000 goal. They think the grants will range from $300 to $500, but could be more if more donations come in. Like many grocery and convenience stores, Dollar General is ramping up hiring during the pandemic. Last month, the company announced plans to add up to 50,000 employees by the end of April. Most, but not all of the jobs are expected to be temporary. Dollar General operates more than 16,000 stores, as well as distribution centers and cold storage facilities. And a company that provides some home health care to senior citizens is also hiring. Alliance Healthcare has openings for nurses, nursing assistants, home health aides, and more. Representatives say that work schedules are flexible and training is offered. You can find links to apply to those jobs and many more by going to our website, hiringhoosiers.com. Hoosiers are finding creative ways to lend a hand to those on the front lines treating the coronavirus patients. Brandon Jordan and his wife are one of the thousands across the country helping doctors and nurses by lending their RV. The RV gives healthcare workers space to isolate themselves when not at the hospital, so they don't bring the virus home to their families.
To help out as much as we could, but I was furloughed last week, and so monetarily it's hard for us to really do anything. We have an RV that's in storage right now. It's a travel trailer, 32-foot travel trailer, and no one's using it. We're not using it, so we figured we would offer that up.
They got the idea from a Facebook group, RVs for MDs, that matches RVs for rent with medical workers during the pandemic. The group organizers say they are in need of more here in the Indianapolis area. One of the challenges that COVID-19 has presented to public safety officials is the cross-contamination of clothing after their shifts are completed. Putnam County Emergency Medical Services had one washer and dryer at one location in all of Putnam County. Shuey's Great Buys plus a Greencastle appliance and electronics store stepped up to help. They donated 3 brand new sets of washers and dryers so that Emergency Medical Services could have a set for all 3 locations throughout the county. EMS workers say the donation was very needed.
It does make us safer. It also helps flatten the curve, which, as you know, is the big thing that the CDC and our administration is trying to push right now. And it helps keep our families even safer, too, because we're not taking those bugs home with us.
The donation from Shoeys was valued at over $4,000. Emergency Medical Services of Putnam County says they're still needing donations of surgical masks and disinfectant. It is 5:09 here on our Wednesday. Let's check in with Todd and see what we can expect for our Wednesday forecast.
And Lauren, for the most part, today is a great day until we get to the evening hours, and that's when we're going to start to bring in the chance of another round of severe weather. But we'll have great conditions here this morning as you get going. It's nice and mild. Temperatures will be in the 60s with just some high thin clouds out there, but they're in the process of moving out as well. So once the sun comes up, once we get past the 7 o'clock hour, skies will be mostly sunny. The storms are now all off to the east in Ohio. High temperatures today should touch 80 degrees in Bloomington as well as Columbus, mid to upper 70s as you work your way to the north. And as far as those rain chances or storm chances go, some come into western locations by 7 p.m. It's for most of us 8 o'clock through about 11 o'clock that we have the most widespread storm coverage. Damaging wind, the main threat, but can't rule out the chance of some hail and an isolated tornado. We'll talk more about the severe threat and main weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Health officials say some people are more at risk of dying from COVID-19. Coming up, why the U.S. Surgeon General says African Americans are among those who are most susceptible. Thousands of healthcare workers up in Michigan testing positive for COVID-19 as many places are running out of protective gear. Coming up, the impact the pandemic could have on the future of the U.S. healthcare system. And right now, let's take a live look outside. This is your commute here on the northwest side, I-65 and I-465 up in the Dog Leg. Still pretty quiet up in that area at this early hour. Stick around. We'll have more news, weather, and traffic coming up just after the break.
Modern Family finale, ABC Tonight.
Welcome back. The federal government is not tracking COVID-19 cases by demographic groups, but the U.S. Surgeon General says African Americans are at higher risk. Dr. Jerome Adams says that early data pointed out this trend. Dr. Anthony Fauci explained this new development at Tuesday's White House briefing.
We've known literally forever that diseases like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and asthma are disproportionately afflicting the minority populations, particularly the African Americans. Unfortunately, when you look at the predisposing conditions that lead to a bad outcome with coronavirus, the things that get people into ICUs, that require intubation and often lead to death, they are just those very comorbidities that are unfortunately disproportionately prevalent in the African American population. So we're very concerned about that.
Several states are tracking coronavirus deaths by racial demographics. In Louisiana, African Americans make up 32% of the population, but slightly more than 70% of the COVID-19 deaths. In Michigan and Illinois, African Americans make up about 15% of the overall population, but account for about 40% of the coronavirus deaths. Indiana State Health Commissioner says she hopes to have racial data on Indiana's cases by Thursday. Thousands of healthcare workers are now sick in Michigan, the state with the third highest number of coronavirus cases. And local hospitals say they're running out of protective gear. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi has the very latest.
This morning, hospital workers across the country suiting up for war.
Let's go.
And saving coronavirus patients while putting their own lives on the line. The virus hitting hospital workers especially hard in Michigan, where the state's two largest healthcare systems report a combined 2,200 employees have now tested positive or have shown symptoms.
We are running dangerously low on PPE.
The governor says hospitals are days away from running out of personal protective equipment. The president of the Michigan Nurses Association, Jamie Brown, who is also a critical care nurse, says she's angry about the lack of supplies and says this crisis will have a long-term impact on the U.S. healthcare system.
If you have the nurses dying and then the hospitals aren't protecting us, who's going to want to go into nursing school to learn how to do this without any guarantees for your safety?
In California, new data indicates the number of deaths per day won't peak for another week and a half. This hospital has converted several areas to take in more patients.
We're grateful for everything that everybody's doing with the social distancing, the stay-at-home orders, because that gives us a chance to be able to care for our patients properly, and we don't see the devastation like they're seeing in New York right now.
And this morning, a look inside one of the battlefields already overrun with patients, a New York City hospital's ICU. With alarms going off, a medical team rushes to save a patient having trouble breathing. Within minutes, they're able to stay stabilize the patient.
Saturation's at 83. We'll take it. It's coming up slowly.
And in Georgia, these hospital workers are playing the role of lifesavers and cheerleaders as they send off another patient who beat the virus.
Thank y'all so much for helping me with this. Thank you.
Mona Kosar-Abdi, ABC News, New York.
Amazon says its workers who violated social distancing guidelines could soon be out of jobs. The company says it will start firing those who intentionally violate the guidelines after they've given them up to 2 warnings. They require employees to stay 6 feet away from each other while working. Some workers say that often makes it impossible to do their jobs. Amazon says it's taking steps to make following those rules a little bit easier. It is 5:18 Wednesday morning. Let's check in with Todd in today's forecast.
You know, yesterday, 79 degrees, Lauren, was our high temperature in Indianapolis. Some areas topped the 80-degree mark, and we'll generally be in that same ballpark today. So it's another warm day for us. It's mainly dry through the daytime hours. You don't really have to worry if you're out for the afternoon walk that you'll get any rain. If you have plans this evening as we get closer to sunset, that's when the severe threat is going to ramp up once again across central Indiana with a pretty strong cold front that's going to come in, and it's going to usher in a completely new air mass for the end of the week. But how about 66 degrees right now? Can't beat that here in the middle of April at 5:18 in the morning. 68 in Bloomington as well as Bedford. 62 degrees in Crawfordsville and Richmond. You're sitting at 65 throughout the day today. We easily climb back into the mid to upper 70s across the area. I do think some areas once again, especially to the south and west, most likely get up into the 80s for your high temperature. And we'll have partly cloudy skies this morning and then mostly sunny skies throughout the afternoon hours. Storm Team 6 radar had a couple storms earlier this morning in northern location. We had one severe thunderstorm warning on the western side of the state, severe thunderstorm watch to the north, but most of these storms stayed to our north, and then when they started dropping to the south, that took place in Ohio and not in Indiana because that's where the warm front set up shop throughout the late afternoon and evening hours to last night, and those storms just moved right along that front. Today's setup is a little bit different in the sense that a cold front is going to sweep across the entire state, and the Storm Prediction Center has the state of Indiana split into 3 categories. Marginal risk to the north, it's a slight risk through the metro area, and then to the south, an enhanced risk of severe weather. The further south you are today, probably the little better chance that there could be an isolated tornado this evening. Also the better potential for some hail. The further north you come, it's mainly just going to be a wind event for us. We're dry again throughout the afternoon hours. It's not until 7 o'clock that some storms approach western locations, move into the metro area, probably between 8 and 9 o'clock. And then by the time we get to 11 o'clock, the storms exit off into Ohio. This is going to be more of a line of storms coming through compared to isolated storms here and there. The main threats today will be damaging wind. That's by far the highest. The secondary threat is going to be the potential for some hail. The third threat is going to be the tornado threat. That's pretty low. And then I'm not concerned about flooding as these storms. Yeah, there'll be some heavy rain when they come through, but they move through very quickly. They're not going to linger across the area. As far as the temperatures, completely different ball game come tomorrow and Friday with highs only right around 50 degrees, back closer to 60 for Easter weekend. But on Easter Sunday itself, it does look like we'll have some scattered showers around the area. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. This is a live look at I-65 from the pedestrian overpass. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed at the bottom corner of your screen. We do have a disabled vehicle there in the shoulder, but other than that, traffic's moving along just fine, both northbound and southbound. So let's take it down to the southwest side, I-465 near Man Road. Traffic looks to be moving along up to speed in all directions here. We'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads for your Wednesday. Well, Verizon customers will have to wait to get their internet service fixed or installed. The company says it's stopping all in-home visits to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. Exceptions will be made for medical emergencies and critical installations. The company is rolling out a virtual assistant tool that can also help customers troubleshoot problems. It's unclear how the change will affect millions of customers working or attending school from home. Hilton and American Express are teaming up to offer 1 million hotel room nights to frontline healthcare workers for free during the coronavirus pandemic. It will give them a place to sleep, recharge, or isolate to protect their families so that money won't come out of their own pockets. The stays will be available from Monday through May 31st. Hilton team members trained on health and safety measures will staff those hotels. Walmart is using its employees' talents to send an encouraging message during the coronavirus crisis. Just after the break, how their associates served as inspiration for their latest commercial. It's 5:22. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Walmart's latest commercial is more of a motivational message than an advertisement, and it's featuring the talents of some of its own employees.
When you're not strong, I'll be your friend.